way and the path that these teams took to get here. And to this point, of course, the devs talked about it in the pre-show a lot of times with Endpoint, you know, subbing in their coach because Relating Wave had a power outage and then they ended up losing that game, but then winning
horribly
the series.
as well. I think it was like 6-1.
Yeah, but honestly, they stalled enough time to give Relating Wave enough time to get back in. Archie, okay. We don't even have enough time to talk about the history between these two teams. He's starting off with a banger.
And you see Exotic getting 50 there, and then Archie again with the 50 back-to-back quality challenges from Endpoint. Yeah. And Archie is that player that everyone's looking at. Archie making waves. You know, he has had such a great year, and now on loan from SMPR to try to help Endpoint make it to that next level after losing their star player. Seiko obviously is having a lot of success on BDS, but Archie now with a chance to experience some success with Endpoint. And Endpoint already off to a hot start.
Yeah, but those shoes from Archie have been filled rather nicely, I'd say, with Exotic on SMPR. I think they played really well as a team, much to what Gregan was alluding to. These guys really love to look for each other on the field. I was watching a lot of their games previously on day one, and their transitions downfield, finding each other. They don't usually overextend too much, and overall I think that they have a really good foundation here and a really good shot against Endpoint. And of course Archie, they want to prove themselves that even though Archie ended up leaving that team, they still can make waves without him.
There's a good stint of pressure from SMPR, but now on the breakout, Archie off the backward gets bumped, so couldn't follow up on the double, but the rebound's there, double commit, the light tap, and Metzenaris will finish the job. And you see Archie, it all started when he threatened that double tap, but then that double commit really making things difficult.
And what a touch from Relating Wave to get that one back into the midfield. I thought that the whole play had died, but Relating Wave coming off the backboard, getting a touch across the net and setting up one final shot. That was huge on that play to keep it up.
And to get that center ball without it bouncing too high over the crossbar, to put it in a spot that was scoreable for Metza. And we're seeing a very scary Endpoint offense go to work early. 2 goals now. SMPR still held scoreless.
At least in game one, those questions of how Archie are going to handle the pressure. I mean, it really, he's the one dealing with the stress. He's the player who left the team and is now trying to, you know, make his own mark on the scene with Endpoint. And he's stepping up to the plate with that double tap attempt. And now with the aggression, now a good touch in the midfield as well. Archie really coming alive in game one.
Nice speed from Metza on the 50. And you see 2 go. Casio with the bump. Chaussette trying to collect the ball. Now it's a 1v2 situation. Casio with the 1-2 play. And that's denied. Endpoint still not out of harm's reach. And now they finally do get the clear. But you saw the bump from Casio. SMPR recognizing that they had the numbers, but they weren't able to put together a counterattack, and Endpoint counter-swinging quite hard.
Yeah, and on the other side of things, whenever Endpoint on offense, I have seen a couple of double commits, though, from Archie and whoever's in that second man spot, so that's something you need to be cautious of. Endpoint, to Johnny's credit, it seems as though Archie is trying to do a little bit too much. I think if he dials it down a bit, things would get better here on the offensive front. Maybe Archie can make a 50-50 in the midfield, and there we go. Okay, rotating back into that third man slot. This is what you wanted to see from Endpoint. 2 minutes left. We'll see if SMPR can build something on offense.
Archie, you saw him hanging out on that post, covering the mid part of the net, but Casio with so much time, able to read that gap. Shoots it low near post. Great vision from Casio.
And it was that first touch with how big of a hit he had in the midfield to go all the way off the backboard. A weird spot to hit in that upper corner. The defense didn't know how it was going to bounce. And within one, and a good kickoff for SMPR. Maybe a follow-up from Chaussette. Doesn't find a touch. And Casio's getting bullied on the goal line. Archie almost getting a setup off the backboard, but Casio still found a way to get touch.
Exotic. Chasing the ball down, going for a ground pinch. 50 by Relating Wave. Hard shot. Metza with the tip off his own backboard. Scary moment there, but Metzenaris able to make the defensive play. Now Relating Wave off the ceiling. That's not the ideal touch. Exotic doesn't have boost to go for it. Still panic from Endpoint. Archie clearing it out. Casio hitting the handbrake, passing it back to Exotic, but another challenge from Relating Wave relieves tons of pressure. There's a traded demo. Chalset not able to get the ball. Does get the corner boost steal, and will turn on it. Trying to cut off the midfield play. Final minute, Semper trailing by 1.
And all I'm looking at right now, James Bada, are these 50-50s that we've seen so frequently from Endpoint. That's a really rough touch from Relating Wave. Not a good clear. Casio has some space, but immediately met. And look at that 50-50 from Metzenaris. It's challenges like that where Endpoint are winning. Another one from Archie in the midfield. That's denying so much from Semper on their opportunities moving forward. Another shot here from Metza, and he's going to get the follow-up. No save comes out. And this all started with that challenge game in the midfield, James.
And not only did Metza get a nice 50 back at the midfield at that mid boost, he also grabbed that 100 boost as well, which allowed him to be in the position to make that play. So you're exactly right, Turtle. These challenges at really critical moments in the game have been in favor of Endpoint. We've seen some panicky defense on both ends, but the offense from Endpoint has been superior, and that goal going to give them a little bit of breathing room as these final seconds tick away in game 1.
Oh, and look, another one, Relating Wave. That one's not even a challenge. He just wins it himself and then goes for the double tap opportunity. He didn't connect. Metzenaris couldn't get the follow-up either, but that's going to waste so many seconds off the clock as Endpoint, of course, going to take game number 1 in this best of 5. Semper, they fought pretty hard here to win this one back and at least get 1 goal on the board. But at the end of the day, the challenge is not enough to stay on offense.
And the 50 game, Turtle, really was highly in favor of Endpoint. And you see Metzenaris, 2 goals, good finishes. Relating Wave thinking back to his play, that light touch after the double commit on the goal line from Semper. That was massive. And then Archie as well, slotting in so nicely, getting the first goal of the game with that 50 that ended up just deflecting in, threatening the double tap, which led to a rebound chance for Endpoint. Endpoint really doing so well on offense. They did have a few missteps on defense, but you even saw Semper as well, a few double commits. So there is room for Semper to get back into this one, but they're going to have to figure out that offense a little bit more. They haven't really been able to put together a convincing attack.
Well, and if they're not going to be winning these challenges, a big key change for them in their play styles to be a bit more passive. They can push that offense back just a tad bit and maybe challenge slower to try and get these dunks here on Endpoint because things are not working for them. But like you said, James, there are opportunities. There are gaps in the defense where things can calm down. And now as we take a look at Semper, we'll see what we have out of them and whether or not they can bounce back. It's going to be difficult, of course, but Semper, they have each other. They're so good at moving down the field, transitioning as a team. I want to see more passing from them, James.
And some of the best passes I've ever seen in RLCS have come from Casio.
Absolutely.
Casio, I feel like his vision on the infield passes is remarkable. But what Semper's also going to have to find out is who's going to be that shooter.
Yeah.
The gap left in the offense after Archie left. Someone has to step up and fill it in these high pressure situations. And we'll see if Semper has what it takes. Now double tap.
No way!
Archie with a spear into the net. A beautiful goal.
Oh, and he pre-jumped it from Relating Wave. Before Relating Wave even got that touch into the midfield, Archie was already up in the air, had the double tap set up, and he nails it.
And Archie, the player we highlighted to watch in this series, already making clips.
Huge here for Endpoint, and it's got to feel good for Archie. The rivalry, his old team.
Another one.
He's the difference maker. Another one. This one from Archie on the 50-50. It bounced off the ceiling and went right down onto Relating Wave's car.
And I mean, Archie, crazy challenge there.
Yeah.
But Metza, he beat Chaussette to the ball by a far margin. Chaussette wasn't even close to that first touch.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying here for Semper, James, is they're clearly losing that challenge game, and even in the speed department, it seems like they can't get in front of the ball in time, so they have to hit the brakes. They've got to stop rushing and throwing themselves the ball. Another one for Casio. He gets a bump, but that ball's still floating in the backfield. Wastes a lot of time here, and a lot of boost now from Semper. Archie running back to maybe get a touch on. He finds it, and then is patient on the goal line to get the dunk.
Oh, and it looked like Exotic had a window with the camera angle I had. Couldn't really see how much of a lane that he had, but that looked scoreable from where I was sitting.
Yeah.
And then the good defense to follow it up. Semper, that is a painful play They really needed that one there. Still scoreless as Relating Wave gets a full corner boost and a nice 50 to keep this in his own corner. Another challenge. And now Metza, oh, it kicks right out.
Got it.
And it's a save from Archie. He's got some springs, doesn't he, Turtle?
He can do it all. He's got some springs right there to launch himself up to get the save off the crossbar, pinched and out. And he's been making so much damage on offense and really putting the team on his back. But then you come onto the defensive side. That's the second huge read that he's needed to make on the goal line, James.
And he's made it. And Semper struggling. 2 good looks this game. Still running away empty-handed. Relating Wave.
He didn't even have any boost, James, and he won that challenge. It's crazy what Endpoint are doing here.
And Endpoint double committing on defense. That does give an opportunity to Semper. Chaussette can't find the top corner. And we've seen now multiple opportunities for Semper that have not been converted despite these double commits. Another double commit from Endpoint, but it doesn't haunt him yet.
And it doesn't seem like Semper think that Endpoint can rotate back and recover so quickly, because when a double commit does come out here from Endpoint, they're quick to get back in position and find themselves organized yet again. And while there's, of course, that big issue of double committing, Semper, they're taking their time. It's not too panicked from them, and I want to see them rush here whenever there is an opportunity. They need to strike faster and quicker and be ready for those double commits. Otherwise, you're giving Endpoint all the time in the world to rotate back, get that third man in the spot, and, you know, win more 50-50s to let the teammates fall back into position.
There's the precision shooting from Relating Wave. That's what's been lacking for Semper. But Relating Wave showing everybody how it's done.
Oh my goodness. And at first it looked like Chaussette was, of course, going to get the save and was in the right spot there, rotating to the net. But with how much power Relating Wave got on that shot, there's no chance for Chaussette, left in a 1v2 situation. Now off the kickoff, Endpoint want to continue destroying this goal line off the post and out. Another one almost there for Endpoint.
But you can see Metzanar is wreaking havoc on the defensive backline of Semper. No boots, no problem. He picks the pocket, steals the ball, and dishes it to Archie for the 4th goal.
Oh, the man doesn't even stop here. He just keeps going and going. You said it yourself. No boost, no problem. It doesn't even matter. Let's just chase the ball until we get another setup in the midfield. Endpoint 4-0 here against Semper.
And Semper's had just as many chances to score as Endpoint.
Yeah.
And they have not found that accuracy. And Turtle, this has looked like a walk in the park so far for Endpoint. They've had some very big plays. Their defense, their challenges, despite their double commits, hasn't really come back to punish them. Now, Metzanar is getting demoed out of the air. We see some life for Semper.
And there we go, the aggression. Somebody taking initiative, and it's going to be Chaussette. He snipes Metza out of the air, deleted from the pitch, and that's going to be the first goal for Semper. There's a chance. 1 minute and 4 seconds, of course, is going to be difficult, but even just getting 1 goal here to start the potential of a reverse sweep if they drop this game is huge.
If they drop this game, it seems like that's a certainty with how well Endpoint's been playing.
Is it though? Oh my goodness.
That's the second time we've seen Exotic shoot a little bit wide.
I would have loved the caster curse, the timing. It was there, James. It was all set up.
I guess that just goes to show you how down Semper is on their offensive game. Not able to convert on that curse. Yeah. And you see Archie converting a hat trick, putting 1 more in, piling on the pain for Semper.
I mean, this is crazy. He gets bumped into the play, lands, and is perfectly fine. That bump actually benefited Archie there, so a bit of some fortune going in favor of Endpoint as they now extend the lead by 4 goals again. 30 seconds left, and you know, I said there might have been a chance earlier on, but now I know for certain that Semper, they're not getting back in this game. They're gonna have to look to reverse sweep Endpoint in this best of 5. James, do you think they can do it?
I've seen crazier things happen, Turtle, but this one would be up there, especially with how well Endpoint's been playing.
Another
Archie proving to be an impact player. We're not really seeing the offense come out from anyone on Semper. We did see the nice demo play from Chaussette.
Yeah.
But we saw Exotic miss a few opportunities where he had a near post shot, wasn't able to hit the mark. And then on the other end, you've got Endpoint pre-jumping, hitting that pre-jump from Archie, hitting that double tap, the zero boost pickpocket, the relating wave boom from midfield, 77 miles an hour into the net. Endpoint, they're firing on all cylinders, Turtle, whereas Semper, we're not really seeing the same.
Right. Well, we almost saw Semper gain some traction here at the beginning of this game, but it was Archie who got the goal line saves, JamesBot, who kept Endpoint in the lead by about 2, maybe even 3 goals at a certain time. And for them, that is huge because they were able to deny Semper any momentum from starting at the beginning of the game with those saves from Archie. And I just want to see him continue that defensive stance because they're going to need it here to stop any reverse sweep, as it seems as though we do take a look here at the Endpoint roster. A difficult matchup here for Semper, James.
And it has to hurt that one of the players picking your team apart is your former teammate out at Endpoint on loan. And it just, while Semper maybe it's starting to lose hope in the long run, Endpoint gaining hope in the short term and the long run. Endpoint still very much a threatening Worlds contender. Right. And now a chance to make a huge stride towards the major, towards World, with one more game win here.
This is massive right now for points, for making a deep run in the lower bracket. Of course, Semper, they want to at least put up a fight now, and they're going to have to. But if there's space given to Relating Wave, he is going to make it count. You can't give this man one shot because it's going to be a banger into the crossbar going down and in.
And Endpoint making the most of pretty much every opportunity they've been given, and even scoring when it didn't seem like there was an opportunity at all.
Yeah.
13 seconds in, already an Endpoint goal. Semper have not managed to score more than once.
What is going on right now with this Semper defense? They don't know really how to position themselves forward, how to approach the Endpoint offense. Very awkward timing here for going for the ball. And there's another one where Chaussette was just so late to the ball, didn't even get a piece of it. And they're just kind of falling into the trap of Endpoint with these challenges. The only thing that I've seen work out for Semper has been that demo game from Chaussette. That was it. And another miss, like you said, from Cassio on the defensive side. Semper, something is really breaking them down here. And I want to say it's Endpoint, but at the end of the day, it looks like it's also some mechanical issues here, James.
Yeah, and Cassio, he had boost there. He had the read on the wall, just not enough height on the jump. And so we see 2 goals now in the first minute. And now a numbers advantage for Endpoint on the attack. Metanor is scoring again quickly off kickoff. The wheels falling off for Semper.
We saw Exotic and Cassio off the kickoff. They were cheating up for the 50-50. They bumped into each other. Both went flying forward. And then you left Chaussette in a 2v1 situation. Another one where the kickoff is going in favor of Endpoint. They're back on offense. 3 goals. We're only a minute in. Endpoint, they're slaughtering Semper on the defense.
Semper still have plenty of time. I think that's the one positive that you can point to.
Definitely.
There's still plenty of time, but also a little discouraging. Down by 3 already, and low boost for Cassio. That one clings off the crossbar. Another backboard pass. Archie will turn, and he lets Exotic take the hit. A Relating Wave will boom it back downfield. Semper struggling to find that breakout opportunity.
And the speed, they just are getting dusted. Again, here's a good win, though, from Exotic. One of the first times that we've seen them take a win in the air, but it doesn't lead to anything. Cassio, another huge whiff on defense where he can't get in front of it. Metanor is toying and bullying Exotic as that third man, wasting more time. Cassio misses the double tap, but Exotic's there for the follow-up. It's saved again from Endpoint. The defense, for the first time, I'd say, this game getting tested.
And we've seen them be tested before in this series with Endpoint, and they managed to make goal line stop after goal line stop. And speak of the devil, Metanor is another goal line stop.
It just feels like the striking department has to improve here for Semper. Of course, there is a solid goal line save, another 50-50 win from Metza. But for Semper, somebody hasn't really stepped up. And normally it's going to be Exotic, who has that star mechanical ability, but we haven't seen too much of it.
Another opportunity for Semper. And you see Archie doing the in and out clear. Semper not able to catch a break.
Wow.
Now, on the other end, Chaussette dribbling in his own corner. Cassio with the demo. Tip from Relating Wave. We'll put it over to Archie, who goes for the backboard. Exotic will clear it down. Metza, light touch. Chaussette, center ball to Cassio. Cassio, a bounce shot. Easy save for Archie. Another setup attempt into the middle, but Relating Wave first to it. Archie, great speed. Double commit, though, from Endpoint. Metzenaris will have to play this smart. And he does keep the ball in. Semper, you see Exotic getting bumped off the play. It looked like Exotic got bumped up the wall here. So we take another look on the replay.
And this was off of another double commit, as you're right. Exotic getting bumped off the backboard in a spot that he could have potentially gotten behind the ball. But all of that started here, James, on another double commit from Endpoint. But Semper were nowhere in position to punish or at least move out on offense. Chaussette looking for a 50-50 off the kickoff. 4-goal lead for Endpoint. They're making double commits. They're being aggressive. It's not a perfect game from Endpoint, but Semper, they have no idea right now how to counter them, how to get in position. The mechanics are off. It has been a very poor showing from them, but Endpoint lights out from their offense, and especially Archie.
You're 100% right, Turtles. We do see Exotic get one. A low altitude bouncing double tap. And Exotic, I mean, it was a nice goal, and still there is a chance. Goodness. We'll see if they bring out some type of kickoff strategy here.
Yeah. I was on Archie's cam, James, and he literally just went to the other side. He just left his teammates on defense. That's how confident he is. Yeah, literally. He was going towards the other half to take the boost. So if that doesn't represent how confident Endpoint are feeling, I don't know what will. Here we go. Maybe something here as Semper are looking just to get any opportunities, any ounce of life as they can get it. The oxygen just getting taken out of their lungs here. And it's Endpoint on top.
Back-to-back 5-goal games for Endpoint, and another play where Endpoint is able to get an incredible 50-50 that puts the ball in a rebound scoring chance, and they put it away.
I mean, Endpoint, this is unbelievable here from their offense, from Archie in particular. I think Metzenaris is having a wonderful game here on the challenge game. Archie, another shot from the midfield, slotting in rather nicely. And I'd say this game is just about over, James.
Yeah, when you have multiple players scoring hat tricks in a 3-game series, you know that your team is playing pretty dang well.
Absolutely.
And also, even though we've seen a few double commits from Endpoint, we have seen such great defensive stops, especially on the goal line. Endpoint so comfortable sitting on their own goal line. And how many times have we seen that where the ball bounces off the post, bounces off the crossbar, Semper not able to score it.
Oh my goodness. And Archie is dancing in the backfield. I mean, this man is literally, he has no, what is happening? What is going on here? I was on his cam settings. The man was just breakdancing in the backfield because I'm sure he's excited here. And that's got to represent how good it feels now to get a win. I don't know what's
the only people that can score on Endpoint is themselves at this point.
And it's got to feel good for Archie. I mean, this is your previous roster. A lot of times when teams make different moves or changes in the roster and swap teams, James, you're left with a little bit of doubt. You know, was this the right choice? Should I have swapped teams? And I think that this win and the style that Endpoint are taking this win as well has got to be reassuring and confidence just flowing through Archie's veins right now.
And looking at the big picture, Turtle, for Endpoint, you know, they have Seiko, up-and-coming player at the start of the year, quickly rising to the top. So much hope for Endpoint. And then to lose that player, that's a punch in the gut. But Archie has come in and made sure that Endpoint keeps on rolling. A sweep over Semper. And that is fabulous for Endpoint and their hopes of making it to the major and an appearance at the World Championships. Such a critical series against another another challenger in Semper, and they put them away.
And these teams, they're so close to each other in Europe right now in the rankings, and also, of course, the point differential between the two teams. So this is a huge win for Endpoint to eliminate any competitors, including Semper, from taking away some points from them, of course, looking to make it to London. And I think Coach Eclipse as well is also happy he didn't have to sub in. That's definitely a positive for him. He didn't have to come out here. And although his record is pretty good with at least goals per game, okay?
Honestly, though, with how well Endpoint was playing on the goal line, maybe they would have been able to pull something off, but maybe not. Let's be honest. But Endpoint, phenomenal gameplay. Yeah. Archie slotting in nicely. And we saw the rivalry again go in favor of the way of Endpoint. They sweep Semper. Turtle, we're going to go to a quick break, but when we come back, Luminosity versus Guild, another elimination match. We'll be right back.